Welcome Lund loyalists to John Lund Unleashed. Those watching on YouTube, on the John Lund Unleashed and Bay Area Sports Collective channels. Viewers on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and Lundos listening to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. John Lund Unleashed, brought to you by Reapel Sports Medicine. Got pain? Check out our revolutionary stem cell treatments. And guys, if low T is bringing you down, Reapel Sports Medicine can put you back in the game. Now all juiced up and ready to go, here's Johnny.
Things are crazy. You might be able to scratch Giannis off the list. He might not be going anywhere because something Milwaukee just did. The free agency frenzy is just that, and every sport is like this. And I got to be honest with you, sometimes it's better than sport itself. It's just absolutely crazy. So I got some Damian Lillard news. Oh, this is interesting. All right, I was thinking the opposite, but then there's something from Chris Haynes. I mean, it is moving fast. I'm curious. All right, thank you for joining us on a trash day is today, Tuesday edition of the show, John Lund Unleashed. It is episode 180. You know how things work around here. If you don't, let's get you caught up. So what we do is go through the chalkboard here in a second. Some big stories today, and the NBA was moving fast and furious. So I'll get you the latest going on that for episode 180. So I'll get you caught up on things. We say good morning, then we do a quick roll call, and then we get into things, lots of great videos, discussions, things like that. We love your interaction. So if you're watching on X at John Lund Radio, if you're watching on Instagram at John Lund Radio, maybe you're screwing around and not working, you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, one of those other places that we are on the platform, come on over to YouTube, hang out in the chat room. A lot of great people. You do not have to agree with everybody. We have actually great discourse back and forth, unlike the rest of America right now. You can actually have your opinion be heard, and nobody's going to jump in. I think we like to have a lot of fun, and it's a cool community that we've built. So come on over to YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to John Lund Unleashed on YouTube, as well as get those alerts on. Hit us with the like as well, because that helps the algorithm. That would be outstanding. The big B in the corner is Bay Area Sports Collective. You're like, wait, this is confusing. There's lots of stuff. It looks like a NASCAR down there. Well, what that is that's my show. In addition to my channel on YouTube, there's another channel called the Bay Area Sports Collective, and that houses my show, as well as Tom Tolbert, a lot of former KMBR people. If you're in the Bay Area, you know what that's about. So my show, Tom Tolbert, Rod Brooks, Quality Hang, as well as Polymax Particles, which features Polymac, formerly the KMBR Morning Show, and Creative Tony, who was our creative director, which is called Creative Tony, if you didn't know that, who does the show with Pauly. Plus, we have the great Amy G, Giants fans will know, and former Giant Jeremy Effield, who I'm not sure is very happy right now. So anyway, those are all the shows on the Bay Area Sports Collective. So in addition to my show, if you would go over there and subscribe, I know that's a lot, but please do that. That would be outstanding. So good morning to everybody. Before we go down the chalkboard and before we do roll call, you know what it's all about. Dr. Jeffrey Reapel, fine sponsor of the program right there. Click on that QR code. Where's my phone? Click on that QR code right there. And I tell you all the time about my wife and how much better she's feeling because of the stem cell. There you go, right there. Boom. I click it right there. It's really, really simple. And it's going to go through, and that's what you're going to see. Hang on. Let me give it a quick second. There you go. That's what you're going to see right there. It's really, if I take down the QR code, maybe it's going to be a little easier for you to see. But if you click on that QR code, that's what you're going to see right there. It's going to go take you right to the website to Reapel. And there's all sorts of great things you can do. So check it out. My wife, she does the stem cells. I tell you about shoulder, elbow. She's feeling absolutely great. It honestly is. Dr. Reapel's like, be careful what you say about stem cell. There's certain rules and laws. I just know this. It worked a miracle on her. Her elbow, her shoulder. She's not icing anymore. We're walking everywhere. She had it done on her foot a couple of times. It's absolutely great. And Dr. Reapel is one of the first in California to do stem cell work. So it is absolutely awesome. It's not expensive like you think. And you know what? You're just going to be feeling great. He's over there in San Ramon. It is worth the effort if you're in the East Bay, and it's worth the effort if you're not in the East Bay. He's that good. And then he's doing the low T on me, which I don't have to go in every single week like most people. I go in every 3-4 months. I feel absolutely great, but that's not all. Check out the website. And if you didn't hit the QR code there, just Google it or use your favorite search engine. And check out Dr. Jeffrey Reapel, Riopelle. And the key part, Jeffrey Reapel, the key part is tell them when you make the appointment, you can check out the website, whatever, but tell him I sent you over so that he knows I sent you over. It's important. So there you go. Dr. Jeffrey Riopelle, Riopelle. All right. Episode 180, NBA free agency. It's going crazy even this morning. I'm thinking the Warriors should blow this thing up because after what Houston did and what teams are doing, especially in the Western Conference, are they better than Oklahoma City? Are they better than Houston? They can be better than San Antonio. They can be better than Denver, who just got Valanciunas from Sacramento this morning. Everybody's just loading up on size, and the Warriors can't. The Mavericks, I'm not saying that what they have is great, but they're going to give the Warriors trouble. And D'Angelo Russell at like 25 or 30 or $40 billion. D'Angelo Russell at 2 and 13 for the Mavericks. That's not a bad deal. So teams are making moves, and in the meantime, the Warriors are moving down. The rest teams are getting younger, more athletic, moving up, have more size. At some point, you're like, okay, we got a 2-year window. All right, but 2-year window to what? Finish 6th in the West? Joe Lacob's not into that, man. So anyway, we'll give you the latest on Al Horford and Jonathan Kuminga and all the different stories that are going on. But again, there's a breaking Milwaukee Bucks story that's really, really interesting that I'll get to in just a second. Annoying Arizona fan. This guy does this all the time. Apparently the big controversy of last night. And ultimately, I think they got the call right, but we got to discuss anyway. You know what the conclusion I've come down to? Because now we're on July 1st, and the Giants were 13 and 14 in both May and June. They're just not very good. So we'll get into that conversation, as well as there's some trades or a trade that could save them, not to the level of Devers. They're not doing that again to add that kind of payroll, but what could they do? Random stuff, and I'm not kidding you. I think today I have 3 Caboose pistols, which if you're new to the show, in my many, many years in radio, about 30 to be exact, on sports radio, we do the end, and we usually have 3 or 4 stories. Normally I do like 1, but there's no less than 3 good Caboose stories today. And you know me, I'm not going to give you a bad Caboose story. It's got to be really good to make the show. So I've got no less than 3 Caboose stories today that you're going to want to see. All right, let's get to roll call, and then we got a bunch of breaking news that we got to hit, and I might even use a breaking news sounder today. I don't know. JJ Rader is first in today. Shrimboy is here today. Hello, Dom. Good morning, as he says. Morning, everyone. Dom is the best. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is not a show without joy. We know that. Tommy is here this morning. Enrique Daniel from the 916 is here. Good to see you. Naomi is here today. Hello, Scott. Haven't seen you in a while. It is great to see you, my friend. Good to see Scott. Hi, Scott. Hope you're doing great, man. Let's see. Who else do we got? Pine Needle is here today. The Nutta. Good morning to everybody. You can see everybody says good morning. Everybody's in a good mood. Chris, one of our Lund loyalists, is a great guy. He's here. Vrock is one of my favorites. Everybody's my favorites. You know how it is. Perry is here this morning. Hello, Perry. It's great to see a bunch of familiar names in today. JR. Hello, hello, hello. Melvin on the hot seat, you're saying. Wow. Melvin fishing on the hot seat. Maybe a crazy removal come August. Bochy. Bochy's still in Texas, right? I think he's about ready to go. He won that one. It's like, what else? The 1-420 is here this morning. A scratchy throat this morning. Joy, I already said Joy, but she's worth saying twice. Who else? We got a bunch of people in the room today. It is awesome. Hello, Kenny Smith. Good morning, Johnny. Yeah, my only person in my life. I'm glad that you called me Johnny, and I think I've mentioned this before. Where is it? There it is. The only person in my life who consistently called me Johnny was my grandmother. She's passed, but when my mom was pissed, I'd get a Johnny. And I don't even mind it. I don't know. You seem to outgrow, Danny is Daniel. Well, sometimes. Johnny is John, turns into John. Jimmy is a young person's name to Jim. But although Jimmy Garoppolo was Jimmy, although Tim Ryan called him Jim. Yeah, Jim Garoppolo. Jim Garoppolo. But yeah, anyway. A lot of stuff to get to today. Did I say hi to Tommy this morning? I think I might have. Anyway, good morning to everyone. Remember, if you want to get your thoughts on the show, 100%. Questions, comments, thoughts, whatever it is, hit me with a super donate to the show, which is always greatly appreciated. Our first super today comes from Tommy Huxley. Yeah, Jung-Hoo Lee is, Tommy is not happy. Trade Jung-Hoo, DFA Walker, fire Melvin. Walker's not having a good year. There's no doubt. I don't know what happened, man. He was, and I had him on the patio probably 2 or 3 times. And by the way, thank you, Tommy. I've had Ryan Walker on probably from the patio when we were doing shows down there on KNBR, probably 3 times. Really cool dude. I really like him. But that doesn't matter. If you suck, you suck. I'm not disagreeing with you there. It's just he said at the beginning of the year I'm having mental problems, and they've got to just, you know what they got to do? They just got to stop using him in high leverage situations. I mean, I know it sounds simple, but they got to find somebody else. It's not working. Maybe he needs a change of scenery. I'm not ready to fire Melvin. I still am amazed that as much as I like Pat Burrell as a person, that he's got a job. It's not his fault, but nobody's hitting except for Christian Koss, who's now hurt. So they're just going through a really bad stretch, and it's not a small stretch. It's a 50-game stretch, a 54-game stretch, to be honest, and there's only 162 of these, 13 and 14 in May, 13 and 14 in June. We'll get into this a little bit later because I got to hit this NBA stuff real fast, but like I said, agree or disagree with me on this. Hit me with the comments if you're watching the show later, or hit me in the chat room right now. Hit me up on John Lund Unleashed on X. Maybe they're not very good. They're 26 and 28 in their last 54. That's not a good baseball team. That's sub 500. If they were 26 and 28 to start the season, our expectations would have, but they didn't. They were good at the beginning of the season. We're like, oh, these guys are going to be really good. They added Rafael Devers. Oh my God, they were close to the Dodgers. And all of a sudden, Miami and the White Sox happened, and then Arizona last night. So, now I'm looking at it going, okay, maybe they need a third starter. Maybe they need a third starter with an impact. Maybe they need a third starter and whatever. I mean, who the hell? The thing that's amazing right now is, not that you want to rush Chapman back, but it's like they need Chapman. They don't have a third baseman. They don't have a second baseman. The shortstop can't hit. The first base is still a joke. Catcher can't hit. Jung Hoo Lee's hitting. Last night, Jung Hoo Lee in June was $150. Jung Hoo Lee hit $150 in June coming into last night's game. I don't know. Obviously, he's worse now, but I mean, he's hitting under 150 for a month. And that's your center fielder that you've shuffled in and out of the lineup at like first, hitting leadoff, hitting third. Like Adames was hitting second. Like, dude, these guys. Anyway, we know that. All right, let's get into episode 180. Huge breaking news this morning. So I think Milwaukee's doing. Sorry, this thing is being screwed today. So what Milwaukee, everybody's kind of sitting around waiting for Giannis, all right? Like, what's Giannis going to do? So there's teams like the Warriors, like the Lakers, like San Antonio, who are kind of sitting back going, okay, let's just wait to see what Giannis does because we don't want to make a move. And all of a sudden, Giannis says he wants out of Milwaukee, and we've taken ourselves out of it by making a little bit of all these small moves. Let's just wait. So you're seeing teams, you're going, come on, Warriors, go get a big guy. Go. Well, hang on. What are you going to do with Kuminga? Hang on, because Giannis is the big fish in the pond here, and everybody wants to wait to see what he's going to do outside of Houston, who's just stacking themselves and might be the favorite in the West now. So, by the way, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander signed a gigantic, I think it was 4 and 285 today, just so you know. But so this morning, here's what Milwaukee does. I didn't think that Miles Turner was going anywhere. But the Tyrese Halliburton injury has long-reaching implications. So let's say that Halliburton doesn't blow his Achilles. Well, Indiana's one of the favorites in the East, right? But he does blow his Achilles. And so here's Miles Turner, who's a free agent, going, well, I would have stayed with him if it was going to be, Halliburton next year and we can make another run at this. But shockingly this morning, Milwaukee makes a move with Indiana and they get Miles Turner. And what Milwaukee's trying to do, obviously, is make their team as attractive as they possibly can so that they can keep Giannis, who's the big fish right now and kind of holding up, to a certain extent, NBA free agency. Don't get me wrong. There's lots of guys signing and trading and doing all sorts of things, but they're kind of more minor moves outside maybe the Durant move. And, Capella's a move to Houston and all these different things. I mean, Brook Lopez goes to the Clippers, but that's for a mid-level thing. It's not holding it up completely, but I mean, in terms of he can break a dam, and I'm going to explain to you why this affects Jonathan Kuminga, because lots of people are trying to speculate on Kuminga, and I'll tell you how this affects him in just a second. But the big story of this is, let me share my screen with you here. Let's see, which one of these do I want to hit here? Right here. Let me start with this one. How about that? Oakland zone. The Milwaukee Bucks waiving Damian Lillard, stretching the remaining $113 on his contract in order to acquire Miles Turner. Coming to an end, 2 seasons, blah, blah, blah. Get ready, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about any of that. So he's rehabbing an Achilles. I know the first thing on your mind is, well, have the Warriors sign him. Maybe they would. Have him be a third guard. He's not going to have to play a ton of minutes. I mean, the Warriors are old. So like I said on the cover of the show today, why not? the Golden Years Warriors, not the Golden State Warriors, the Golden Years Warriors. So anyway, he can't play this year, so it doesn't really matter if you have your 2-year window. I guess he could be a third guard next year if you didn't want very much money, and basically his career goes full circle and he comes back to the Bay Area. Now he's Oakland zone, not San Francisco zone. They play in San Francisco, but close enough. You get the idea. So Damian Lillard gone from Milwaukee. They're going to stretch the 113 over 5, and they're going to bring in Miles Turner. So my first inclination on that whole thing was, well, he's going to like that. Giannis is going to like that. He's going to stay in Milwaukee. But check this out. Now let me do this again. Let me share my screen with you one more time here, and I'm not trying to confuse you, but let me just show you something. So this is what Milwaukee looks like right now. Let me see. I did a thing here. So this is what Milwaukee looks like right now. If you throw Miles Turner in there. So Porter, who they waived and re-signed. AJ Green, no, not the wide receiver. Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, Turner. To me, and then you got Bobby Portis back. Prince re-signed. He's back. Trent re-signed. He's back. As I look at that team, it's okay. Is that a playoff team in the East? Yeah. It kind of looks like a 4, maybe that's a 4 or 5 in the East. I mean, Giannis is that good. So Giannis, Miles Turner can be up and down. Kuzma's okay. The backcourt leaves much to be desired. And you got a couple of decent guys. Actually, that second team's not a bad second team. But that team's not winning a championship. So, yeah, that's an okay team. But is it enough? Because their big move now is to bring in Miles Turner. Maybe they'll make another small move. I don't know. They lack backcourt. I mean, AJ Green and Kevin Porter, those are your starters with Gary Trent coming off the bench, Connaughton coming off the bench, Prince, Portis. Like I said, that's not a bad second unit. But that team's not winning anything in the Eastern Conference. Are they beating Cleveland? Now, it's wide open in the East now. The Pacers, they don't have Halliburton next year. So everybody in the East, Atlanta, by the way, made some great moves yesterday. Maybe Atlanta's the favorite in the East. I don't know. But my point is that we're waiting for this logjam, which is Giannis, Antetokounmpo. What's he going to do? Is that team that you just saw on the screen good enough for Giannis Antetokounmpo to say, yeah, I'll stay? And if I'm Milwaukee, if I'm the rest of the league, it's like, can you make up your mind? Like, you've had a long time to do this, and I get it, man, that your future is important, but I think what he's doing is he's sitting back and saying, what is Milwaukee going to do? Giannis, to me, and I have no idea, but he's not Kevin Durant. He doesn't want to play for the Skittles rainbow of teams, right? He wants to stay with one team. It seems like if they could do something, because by now, a lot of guys, the James Harden, the Kevin Durants of the world, they said, I'm out, man. I'm out. Trade me. They're like that quick, because that's what they do. They're like, this team can't win. I'm going to go to another team and another team and another team and another team. And at the end of the day, it's like, dude, maybe some of this is on you. You keep jumping team to team. So Giannis seems more like a Curry to me or a Kobe to me, or look, I just want to be on one team until you just show me that I can't be on that one team. So my first thought on this whole thing, and it does affect the Warriors, and I'll tell you why in a second. But my first thought on this was, wow, Giannis is probably pretty happy with this. Lillard's not going to play next year anyway. And you get a guy like Miles Turner, this isn't so bad. And they signed a couple of players for depth, Gary Trent Jr., et cetera. They signed these guys. But then Chris Haynes is reporting this morning, Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo is not pleased with the team's decision to waive Damian Lillard. So league sources tell me. I don't know why he would be. He's not going to play next year. He just blew his Achilles. So he's not going to help you anyway. And let's be honest, he wasn't a very good fit in Milwaukee. It was a terrible trade. Drew Holiday goes actually first to Portland, but then gets rerouted to Boston, wins the championship. By the way, he's back in Portland now. But I'd take Drew Holiday over Damian Lillard, at least the guy we saw the last 2 years. So it was a bad trade for Milwaukee. And so I would have thought Giannis would be happy. But so we don't know how Giannis is feeling. I'm looking at this whole thing going, I would have thought that he would have been happy with this. So if it is true, if what Chris Haynes is reporting is true, then maybe Giannis is not happy and could leave Milwaukee. But that's the thing holding it up for a lot of teams. It's holding it up for the Warriors, I think. It's holding it up for San Antonio. I think it's holding it up for the Lakers. Because what do those teams need? They need size. I mean, I put this up yesterday. In fact, let me share this to your screen. I put this up yesterday now with all these big moves in the let me see. Yeah, here we go. So yesterday in the West, The Rockets had Capella. Brook Lopez goes to the Clippers. Luke Cornett goes to the Spurs. Reed and Randall are staying in Minnesota. Jaren Jackson Jr. is extended in Memphis. Kevon Looney, which we'll get to in a minute, he goes to the Pelicans. So the West, as far as contenders go, I'm a contender. As far as contenders in the West go, OKC, as far as size, Hartenstein and Holmgren on OKC. Houston stacked. Şengün, Adams, Durant, Capella. Denver's got Jokic. And today they added Valanciunas for more size. The Clippers have Zubac and they added Brook Lopez. Minnesota has Gobert, Randall, and Reed. Dallas has Anthony Davis, Derek Lively II, and Gafford. San Antonio just got Cornette, Wemby, 7'3". Memphis, Jaren Jackson Jr., Edey, and Aldama, who re-signed in Memphis. You see all the size for all the contenders on the team, and then you look at the Lakers and Golden State, and you're going, that meme poking them, do something. Do something. But the reason why those two teams aren't doing something right now is they're waiting on Giannis. We hear Al Horford's name. I don't know that the Warriors want to get into the Al Horford game until they see what Giannis is going to do. They really don't want to do anything. So Al Horford has been, and that's why I've got it Golden Years Warriors, and I have Horford on the Warriors. That hasn't happened. And I was watching Mark Spears last night, our good friend that joined us weekly on KMBR for years and years and years. And Spears talked to Horford or his representatives and basically said there are 4 or 5 teams, and Al Horford's just waiting. I got news for you. When I go down on the chalkboard there and it says Golden State should blow it up, got news. And you already know what the news is. Al Horford isn't doing shit for the Warriors in terms of climbing the ladder in the Western Conference. If Al Horford is their big size guy, at this point, it's nothing against Horford. He's a stretch big. He is, by definition, a stretch big. But he's only going to play, he's older. He's going to play, 20 to 25 minutes? Maybe. Maybe you can get 20 minutes a night, 22 minutes a night out of Al Horford. But it's not going to be a lot of minutes. So that doesn't solve your big problem. In the playoffs, he wouldn't be bad, but look at the Western Conference. Look at all the size I just told you. So you have this roster and you add Al Horford. You climbing up the ladder very far? No. So my point is that, you have this 2-year window. Let me give you the odds, and this is this morning in the Western Conference. Let me start using this stuff that I got in front here. I am just like blah, 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 right? Oklahoma City is still going to be good. Houston, I would probably make Houston the favorites at this point. They just picked up Durant, Capella, and they're apparently not done. Cavaliers, I don't trust. The Nuggets have made a couple of nice moves. They move Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson, which from a talent standpoint might be one and the same, but Porter just drives you crazy with his inconsistency. So they get Cam Johnson, and then they turn around and sign Bruce Brown, one of the guys that was on their championship team for a little bit of depth, and then they added Valanciunas today. And what Denver is clearly doing is they're like, we got some good players in the starting lineup. We have no depth. Denver has no depth. And so Denver's adding depth, so I think they're better. They're 9-1. Knicks, whatever. I don't care about the East right now. Lakers 14-1. That number is way too high. I've told you over the last few days, if I'm the Lakers, I'm trading LeBron. I'm getting everything I can out of LeBron because next year, you're not going to bring him back. And Luka's going to sign his extension, and Luka's 27 going, hey, get players that fit me. I need a lob center. I need a pick and roll guy. I need shooters around me. That's what I need. I need to dominate the ball. And you got this guy who's 40 years old, who's a nice player still, but it's like we're splitting the ball and neither of us are playing any defense. The Lakers are not 14-1. Clippers add Brook Lopez. That's a nice add, and they already had Zubac. The Warriors are waiting. The Hawks made a couple of nice moves yesterday. Dallas, and like I said, I'm not a big D'Angelo Russell guy, but for 2-13, that's not a bad move for Dallas. And you add that to Cooper Flagg and what they've done. So Dallas is in a pretty decent position. Might put him ahead of the Warriors. Celtics have tons of injuries. They're done. 76ers, please. Spurs 40-1. I'd bet Spurs. I'd bet Spurs right now. Because what if they were to get Giannis? That would probably cut in half, if not more. Pacers are done. They lost Halliburton today. They lost Miles Turner to the Bucks. Bucks are 66-1. That'll change a little, but not much. But if I'm Giannis right there, and he's not a betting guy. I was going to say he's a betting guy. He's not. He gets suspended. But Bucks are 66-1. What is Miles Turner going to do? Make that 50-1, 55-1? I don't know, but not much. I just showed the roster to you. The Heat are a long way away. The Pelicans pick up Looney. Hooray! Suns, Kings, whatever. So if you look at that right there, and you're Joe Lacob, and you see 20-1, Al Horford's not going to change that number. And so if I'm Joe Lacob, and I look at the rest of the Western Conference now, Oklahoma City, Houston to be specific. But if I'm looking at those teams, why am I paying the salary? Why am I paying the tax again? It was great to get Jimmy, and they had a run last year, and that was their opportunity, and then Steph gets hurt, and it's done. So a team with Steph Curry, Podziemski, Al Horford, and Horford's not on the Warriors, but I'm just throwing it out there. Horford, Green, Butler. Where's that team in the West? 4th, 5th, 6th? I don't know. It's not a championship team. They're not beating Houston. They're not beating Oklahoma City. I mean, the West is a mother right now, and teams aren't done. So if I'm the Warriors and let's say I can't get Horford, I mean, who am I going to get? DeAndre Ayton? Go to Tolbert's show, and Tommy and I one time, we did a broadcast from Berkeley when Ayton was a freshman, and he absolutely crushed Cal. In fact, Bob Melvin was there. We hung out with Bob Melvin, and Bob Myers was there. We hung out with Bob Myers. And he dominated whatever, and he was the number 1 overall pick over Luka. And I read a story this morning out of Portland, a guy that I know is a great NBA writer. His name is Jason Quick out of Portland. Just basically said why the Blazers bought him out. He was lazy. He was late. He was bitching and moaning about his time. Like, it just doesn't seem like a good guy. And then, he went to Arizona, did Ayton, and Tolbert's from Arizona. So you think, it's a good thing. He's like, Tolbert was saying he plays like a wing. He's like a 7'1" wing. Well, that's not what the Warriors need. And they don't need a bad attitude guy, who doesn't really give a lot of effort. He's not a good rebounder for his size. He's got size, but I don't know that he's the answer. So, I mean, Ayton might be a backup plan. Horford might be a backup plan, whatever. None of those guys are making the Warriors contenders in the West, given also the fact that Curry's a year older, Draymond's a year older, Jimmy's a year older. Like, these guys aren't getting better. They're not in their prime. They're past their prime. So if I'm Joe Lacob and I'm looking at what the rest of the league is doing, what am I doing? Like, what can I do right now? I could really alter the league. And I know that everybody's talking about trading LeBron, and saying that you're going to trade Curry is blasphemous. So I guess you're going to run him into the ground. But at this particular point, and seeing how good the rest of the league is, I mean, you might be the 10th or the 12th best team in the league. You're not winning a championship. You're not getting better. You don't have any size. I mean, the only thing that could save the Warriors at this point to put them back into contention, major contention, is Giannis. And everybody's sitting around waiting on Giannis. And if you don't get him, which chances are you're not going to get him, then you lose everybody. Then Horford goes somewhere else and Ayton goes somewhere else. Not that I think those guys are going to save the organization, but that's a major problem. And then let me get into the Kuminga part of this whole thing. So I think I have, this is Chris Hayes from last night, and then let's talk about Kuminga. So here's Chris Haynes last night on NBA TV.
He believes he can be a major player in this league, star-level player. With that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if he betted on himself and just accepted the qualifying offer to go into unrestricted free agency next summer. I haven't talked to, this is not any intel, this is just me knowing him, knowing what type of individual he is. I don't see him taking below his value on a 2 or 3, 4 year deal just to get a deal done. He believes that he can play in this league and be a major factor. And he believes in himself. So with that being said, I would lean towards thinking that he probably would hit unrestricted free agency next summer.
Okay, let me explain that. Not that Chris Haynes is wrong. Haynes is wrong. He's not. And he lives up in Northern California. He lives near Sacramento, actually. And I'm sure he knows Kuminga. Spoke to him a lot of times. Probably spoke to him on the phone because Kuminga's working out in Cleveland. But the one thing that I would say is things change day to day. So did we know that Damian Lillard was getting released and Miles Turner was going to the Bucks? No. That leaves Indiana in a position to be, damn, we got to do something here. My point is that while everybody's trying to speculate on what Giannis is doing, a lot of teams' backup plan is Jonathan Kuminga. So Miami's sitting back going, what about Giannis? Or, we didn't get Giannis, Kuminga. Not the Lakers aren't really doing that, but they're the Bulls, and they're not getting Giannis, so the Bulls could be aggressive. The teams we've heard Toronto possibly. My point in saying all this is that things change quickly. So if one player goes somewhere, let's say Giannis just says, I'm staying in Milwaukee. Okay, what does that open up for Kuminga? Let's say that Giannis says, I'm leaving Milwaukee, and Milwaukee calls the Warriors and they want Giannis. I mean, obviously Kuminga would be a trade piece in this, so we really don't know. The Nets have cap space with the net. Do the Nets feel like they could build around or add some value if they got Jonathan Kuminga? Because they could just sign him outright. So everyone's speculating on what Kuminga's doing. And yesterday, what Chris Haynes was saying was the qualifying offer was extended by the Warriors at $7.9 million, which allows them to keep control of Kuminga. What he's saying is, Haynes, that Kuminga could just sign that $7.9 million qualifying offer, play out the season with the Warriors, another one where he's frustrated, doesn't play, isn't in the rotation because he can't play with the main players of the Warriors, because that's he's not the complementary kind of a player the Warriors need, which is they need really a 3-and-D wing, or they need a stretch big. Those are the two things they need, and that's not what Kuminga is. He's not a 3-and-D wing. He's a penetrator, kind of needs the ball in his hands, is hot and cold as far as a defender. I like Jonathan Kuminga, but he has to be, I think, like a lot of players, in the right situation, and this is not really the right situation. The analytics say he doesn't play well with the main players of the Warriors, and Steve Kerr thinks that as well because he's looking at the analytics and he's looked at the plus minus on the floor and blah, 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 and all these analytics, and they say Kuminga does not compute. So it doesn't work. So he's signing himself up for another season and another year off of his NBA career of sitting back and waiting for the Warriors. And then what Haynes is saying is then next offseason, he's a completely unrestricted free agent and he's good to go and he'll go wherever he wants. Now, if I'm the Warriors, I'm not going to let that happen because I've got a 2-year window. Why would I waste 1 year when I know that Kuminga could bring me something? That's what they've got to debate back and forth. Look, there's a couple of ways they can go. First of all, if I'm Joe Lacob, I'm not paying the tax again. He's not going to do this. But if I'm Joe Lacob, but I'm looking around the NBA and I'm paying all these taxes, I'm not doing that. And if I am doing that, and I said this yesterday, and I know it's going to be an unpopular opinion, then I'll trade Jimmy's $50 million for LeBron's $50 million. And if I'm going to go old man, I'm going to go all old man. So, okay, you zig and have all these young players and all these young teams and all the up-and-comers like Oklahoma City and Houston and San Antonio and all that. You zig, I zag. I'm going to go all old man on you. I like Jimmy Butler. There's nothing wrong with Jimmy Butler, but LeBron James is better. And LeBron and Curry are friends and Draymond's friends and all this kind of stuff. And they both make about $50 million when they can figure something out. Now, I don't think the Lakers would want to do that. But then again, if I'm the Lakers, who complements Luka better? That's where you are as a team as far as the Lakers go. Who complements Luka better? Not LeBron. Like a year from now, if we're sitting here or whatever, 6 months from now, when they're playing, when they're in the season, and the Lakers are sitting around and Luka's playing my turn, LeBron's turn, Luka's turn, LeBron's turn, and neither of us going to play defense. The Lakers are going to be 5th and 6th in the West. I don't care. They're in the same boat as the Warriors. You can get DeAndre Ayton. You can get Al Horford. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I mean, that'd be better for Luka. You know, he's got one guy, Horford, he can kick it out to. He's got one guy in DeAndre Ayton that is a little bit more athletic, can roll to the rim, can play a little bit of a lob game, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a little bit better. So they get both those guys. Warriors are still 5th, or excuse me, the Lakers are still 5th and 6th in the West. It just, there's no fit with LeBron James. And it's a really difficult thing to do, you know, the trade and the money and all those kind of things. But he's not Kobe Bryant to the organization. That's the other thing, too, is, you know, people are looking at LeBron. He was that guy in Cleveland. Like, you're not trading LeBron. Now, he left, but you're not trading LeBron if you're Cleveland. He's the franchise. He means that much to the city. LeBron's not a Magic Johnson type. He's not a Kobe Bryant type. He's not even a Shaq type. He won a bubble championship. Everybody knows what that means. Remember when he got the all-time scoring record? It was like, okay. You're not a Laker true and true. So it's not like LA would freak out if they traded LeBron. They've already got their star. That's what they did when they got Luka from Dallas. They can trade LeBron. I got these guys that are sitting there yip-yapping on the daytime shows like, oh, how could you trade LeBron? Of course they could. They could trade LeBron. They could trade LeBron and get a better fit around Luka. Dallas won the Western Conference the year before. Look at the roster that they had. It wasn't a bunch of all-stars. It was a bunch of role players who fit Luka Doncic. Guys who would defend on one side because Luka didn't. And then other guys who fit him. Shooters. 3-and-D guys. Pick and roll guys. Vertical centers. That's what, you know, lob threats. Those are the things that Dallas had around him. And that's what you need to surround Luka with. You look at the Lakers. They just lost Dorian Finney-Smith. 3-and-D guy. That's the kind of guy that they needed. 3-and-D guy. They lost him. They don't have, you know, great defenders on the other end of the floor. They don't have any size for Luka to lob the ball up to or pick and roll with. Like, it's just, they're totally mismatched. And their best player other than him is a guy who wants the ball just like Luka and really is indifferent to defense at this point of his career. So where's the fit? So they don't fit very well. So anyway, that's the whole point is the rest of the Western Conference got all this size. Everybody seems to have an idea. And the Lakers and the Warriors, their offseason plan is, please Giannis, please Giannis, please Giannis, please Giannis, please Giannis. Like, that's not really a plan. And then the backup plan is Al Horford or DeAndre Ayton. And neither of those guys are going to elevate you up the Western Conference ladder enough. Not to me. So anyway, they can do whatever they want. I'm sure as hell not a GM. They know a lot more than I do. But if I'm just putting myself in the shoes of Joe Lacob and say, so let me get this straight, Mike Dunleavy and powers that be around me. DeAndre Ayton and Al Horford, that's the answer? That's the answer. When we have a guy in Jonathan Kuminga, who a lot of teams would find to be attractive, could get us some sort of players. And oh, by the way, we're in a 2-year window. So what are we going to do? Waste one of the years? I mean, Rob Pelinka the other day, or was it yesterday, Pelinka's all this is running together, said, yeah, we're trying to keep cap space open for 2027. You have LeBron and Luka on your team now. Like, what are you doing? Waiting 2 years? You're the Lakers. You can't do that. Anyway, it's crazy out there. So episode 180, NBA free agency, absolutely crazy. Biggest trade, probably Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. Porter Jr. goes to the Nets, Cam Johnson, plus Denver gets a 1, and then with that money savings, they get Bruce Brown in that deal. Valanciunas today goes to Denver as well. Atlanta made a couple of nice moves. They get Porzingis, but Atlanta's going to be a player in the Eastern Conference. If I'm in the East right now, I'm going for it. Boston, you got Tatum with an Achilles. They're done. Indiana, Halliburton with an Achilles, and Turner just left at the Bucks. They're done. Like, the East is wide open. Like, if you're the Knicks, my God, what else is standing in your way? I mean, be aggressive as you possibly can. So that's what's going on in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference, like I said, Rockets are huge. Brook Lopez to the Clippers, Cornette to the Spurs, Reed and Randall staying, JJJ extended in Memphis, Looney to the Pelicans. So the West size is massive. And I think the Lakers and the Warriors are just sitting back going, well, we hope it's Giannis. So that's what's going on. As far as Looney is concerned, I don't know if I have a slide here for Looney. There it is right there. You probably saw this yesterday, just like I did. 2 years, 16 with the Pelicans. Blah, 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 blah. Reached a deal tonight, blah, blah, blah. Golden State, 10 years. Bummer. I mean, Looney's a great guy. Interviewed him many occasions. Looks like he's 80 when he was actually 22. Had a lot of injuries. When he first came aboard to the Warriors, he was this skinny guy out of Milwaukee, by the way, from UCLA, and you didn't think he would turn into what he is. And he kind of evolved, got bigger. You know, when he first got drafted, what is he, 6'7", 6'8"? You're thinking to yourself, maybe this guy can play the 3 or the 4, and, maybe he can give us some scoring or whatever. And then he kind of got bigger and evolved into this defender and leader. And I'm not going to go so far as to say, well, how many championships would they have won without Looney? He was a nice role player for a lot of years. Didn't bitch and moan. Didn't say I should be starting. What's going on? Was integral in 2022. His rebounding was absolutely great. And he turned himself into a nice role player in the NBA. When he first came in and was this skinny kid after his freshman year at UCLA, you couldn't have imagined that he would have evolved into the rebounder, defender type and team leader that he turned into. So it's a bummer, but things evolve. Can't have the old guys, even though he's not old. I think he's 29. You'd think he was 39, but he's only 29. But anyway, as I tweeted out yesterday, respect to Kevon Looney. I mean, he was solid. Like I said, they probably win all their titles without him. But then again, he had some really key moments. He was a really good defender. His rebounding, like I said, was absolutely great. And where you give him credit is he came in as one thing with the Warriors, and then he realized, okay, this is what the team needs. This is what they need me to be. We lack size, we lack toughness, we lack rebounding. I'm going to be that player. Because when he first came in, it was like, oh, the dude can shoot a little bit, give you a little this, give a little that, kind of a skinny guy, had some injuries, and then he went, okay, this is what this team lacks. And he shut up about it. He wasn't bitching and moaning when he wasn't starting. He would come in and out of the rotation. Sometimes he was in, sometimes he wasn't. And you're thinking, God, Looney could really help here. And he just, when it was his turn, he just played solid basketball. That's what he did. He defended, he rebounded, he did all the dirty work, tough guy stuff, and was a great teammate doing it. So It sucks. It's kind of I don't know what I call it. People are saying, oh, end of an era. And it's like, it's an end of an era when Steph goes. It's an end of an era when Draymond goes. It's an end of an era when Steve goes. It's not an end of an era when Looney goes, but I don't want to be a dick about it. I want to acknowledge the fact that he was a really, 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 really nice role player for the Warriors. Let's not have statue talk. Let's not have jersey retirement talk. Let's not have they don't win titles without him talk. That's a little too far. But he was a really nice player who was smart enough to realize that he came into the league as one thing, realized what he could be and what his role would be, and figured out a really nice niche with the Warriors and should be respected for that. So that's how I think of Kevon Looney. Give me your thoughts. Let's see. Anything else on the front? Yeah, this is the Giannis thing. I think I already did that. Blah, 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 blah. So, again, Miles Turner goes to Milwaukee. Is that going to be enough? I already gave you that one. Horford, as I told you, that's why I put that on the thing today. Could it be Al Horford today? And, again, if anything breaks, let me know because I'm trying to stay up on things, but who the heck knows? Kuminga, the latest on that. And I think this is Anthony Slater. Despite a few conversations, too, the Warriors have generated no real traction towards the deal with Jonathan Kuminga, blah, 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 blah. Heat and Bulls remain the two likeliest. So we'll see. But like I said, the one thing to keep in mind on Kuminga is things change fast. So all of a sudden, is Indiana, after they lose Miles Turner and they lose Halliburton, is Indiana like, well, maybe Kuminga? You know what I mean? As certain guys, as Giannis says, for the sake of conversation, I'm staying in Milwaukee. All right, so what does Miami do? What do teams do that thought, what are the net, all these teams that think, okay, Giannis, are they going to turn to Kuminga? Is Kuminga going to be the second choice of Miami, and Miami calls the Warriors and says, hey, man, let's put something together. And remember, because they spoke during the Jimmy trade, when teams make deals, they get comfortable with other teams. This happens in every sport. And those are the teams that they call because they feel like, okay, we've done deals with these guys. I'm comfortable with these guys. Miami and Golden State just did a deal with Jimmy Butler. The things you look at in trades, obviously you look at fit, but you look at connections a lot of times. Did that guy coach that guy? Did that GM? Did that, certain players, certain things? But another thing to look at is if they've done trades in the past, they're more likely to do trades in the future because they like each other. It's like, hey, man, we made a good – unless you just totally rip a team off. But it's like, we made a pretty good trade. Miami's happy. They got Wiggins. They got rid of Butler, all this kind of stuff. They call again. They've got a rapport. Hey, man, what are you thinking about Kuminga? Well, we like this guy. We like this guy. And I told you this yesterday. You're not getting Bam Adebayo for Kuminga. You're not getting Tyler Hero for Kuminga. But if Kuminga turns to you and says, we haven't heard anything from Kuminga other than the Anthony Slater story where he said, look, I want to have my team, and I'm ready now. So I'm not saying guys like Chris Haynes didn't talk to Kuminga, and maybe Kuminga is going to say, you know what, there is no market for me. I'll sign for the $8 million or suffer through only making $8 million. And then next year I'm completely unrestricted and I bolt this joint. But I just get the feeling from Kuminga, he just doesn't want to do that. Like he's ready now and wants to play now because he knows what's in for him. If the Warriors stand pat and add a Horford or a Ayton or whatever, or maybe they make a trade for somebody else because neither of those guys come here. I mean, basically they're battling with the Lakers for size right now. And it wouldn't surprise me if both those guys actually went to one team. Like if, let's say the Lakers got Ayton and Horford, they could coexist. Like, look at all these teams doubling up on size, not only to play at the same time, but also like Horford's not going to play a ton of minutes. He can't. So anyway, all right, let me just double check that nothing's going on. Dennis Schroeder to the Kings does nothing for me. Let's see what else. All right, just double checking anything. Oh, Randy Moss had a cancer diagnosis, but now he's back on ESPN full time. Very nice. Good for Randy Moss. That's awesome. Now there's more trades going on, some minor ones. They're saying Giannis is not happy with the Bucks. I don't understand that because you're letting Lillard go and you're bringing in Miles Turner. Turner's going to play this year, and Damian Lillard's not. So that makes more sense. Anyway, okay, there you go. That's the basketball side of things. Give me your thoughts on everything, and we're going to get into the Giants right now. Any more thoughts on what's going on in the NBA, what the Warriors are doing, what Giannis is doing, what the Lakers are doing, what LeBron's doing, where the Warriors are in the West? I mean, that's my big thing is they're like 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe in the West. And if I'm Joe Lacob, I'm going, I'm going to pay tax for this. Didn't I just get out of this? But then I added Jimmy Butler, and I said, okay, we would. Then we made a run, and then Steph got hurt, and now where are we? Because we're not Houston. We're not Oklahoma City. I don't know if we're San Antonio. I don't know if we're Dallas. I don't think we're Denver. And I think all those teams are better. And that's not even the Eastern Conference, where the East is, oh God, could you transfer to the East for a year? Boston's got the Achilles injury to Tatum. Indiana's got the Achilles injury to Halliburton. Plus, they just traded Miles Turner. I mean, if the Knicks can't get to the finals now, it's like, how can you get, like, you're never going to get there? Atlanta. That's why Atlanta's just like, Atlanta's rocking up. They're like, pfft. That's why, like I said, with Kuminga, Miami's looking at it going, hey, you know what? We're not great, but the Eastern Conference isn't great either. Like Pat Riley's sitting there right now going, all right, I got Bam Adebayo. I got Tyler Hero. And if I could add Kuminga, that's what I'm saying. I'd look at Miami. I mean, Miami's looking at Giannis, there's no doubt. They're waiting on Giannis. But if Giannis says I'm staying in Milwaukee or go somewhere else, I could see Miami calling the Warriors and going, hey, what do you want for Kuminga? And depending on what the Warriors think. I mean, the problem is Miami doesn't have any size to give up. So that's the problem is you want to use Kuminga to get size. And I'm not sure how much size is out there now because there's just a major, everyone's just like grabbing size like it's crazy. I remember when we were like, and we're still this way, like you got to have, switchable players and it's got to be wing players. And I'm not saying that's not important, but all of a sudden everybody said, well, let's get a little bit of size in here. So anyway, every center move I say, or I see is not. Oh, by the way, did you see this morning? This is crazy. This NFL, Darren Waller's coming out of retirement and he's going to the Dolphins. Because remember, Jonnu Smith got traded yesterday as part of that deal for Jalen Ramsey. Jonnu Smith goes Miami to Pittsburgh, so that Miami's looking for a tight end. And Darren Waller just came into retirement and is going to play for the Dolphins. So anyway, I just threw that in the middle of everything. All right, let's get to baseball talk, shall we? Yeah, I would say that. No more one and done college guys. Yeah, that's right. Wiseman's going to come back for the Pacers, right? Yeah, right. Because he had an Achilles, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And look, I don't know what Indy's situation is, but Daniel, that's kind of my point is things change. Like who the hell thought yesterday Miles Turner was going to Milwaukee? And all of a sudden Indiana's going, well, they're not going to tank the season. So Indiana's looking at it going, okay, who can we get? Who can we fill a hole? So all of a sudden maybe they're looking at Kuminga. That's my whole point is that all these guys are speculating, well, there's no market for Kuminga. One move and there is a market for Kuminga. And I think Indiana could be in on him. Miami could be in on him. There's a number of teams that could be. Maybe they're working behind the scenes, but I mean, it's like Miles Turner goes to Milwaukee. Where the hell did that come from? So these guys are basically saying a day into free agency, well, there's clearly no market for Kuminga. And it's like, yeah, there is. Actually, there is. And if he's dead set on wanting to leave, and I've told you this and you already knew this, but if he's dead set on wanting to go, he's going to go. Because he didn't have to sign any kind of a qualifying offer. He can just go trade me. I am not staying. It's my time. So anyway, all right, let's get to the baseball talk. Let me make sure that I've exhausted all of the stuff from hoops. Yeah. All right. Let me flip this annoying Arizona fan and Giants aren't good. Let me just flip that. Okay. Let me go Giants aren't good first. And then we'll talk about the guy who steals home runs, which is crazy that the Diamondbacks still let him in the ballpark. But let me do that second. The Giants. So they get off to a great start. We're feeling really good about things. The bullpen's kicking ass. The starting pitching is good. And by the way, this starting pitching and bullpen, they had a 2.77 starting pitching ERA in May. And they had a bullpen ERA in May of 2.43. Both the best in baseball. And they went 13-14 in May. So you come into June. You're thinking, okay, well, pitching's really good. All they got to do is start hitting. And oh, my God. Did they just get Rafael Devers? So they do that in June. Well, they go 13-14 again in June, and the starting pitching has two starting pitchers that you can rely on. Roop is up and down. My guy Birdsong was terrible in June, and Justin Verlander, give him credit. His last couple of starts, he has not been bad, and he just doesn't get any good luck. So the starting pitching after the first two is a bit iffy. The bullpen, their ERA in June was up over a run than what it was in June. So the bullpen, especially lately, is kind of falling apart. Now, is that because they're tired? I don't think it's because they're tired. I think what's happened is they are trying to use some more players so they don't burn out their bullpen. But I don't need to see Joey Lucchesi anymore. And I don't need to see, there's Spencer Bivens makes me nervous as hell every time he comes in. And now you can start to add Ryan Walker to that pile where it's like, oh, man, this dude, and I don't want to see him in any high leverage situation. So all of a sudden, it's not the guys, and I don't know Duvall's a roller coaster ride all the time, and Rogers had one bad outing, and so that kind of jacked his ERA a little bit. But if you look at just the Giants' main core of bullpen guys, right? Rogers, Duvall, Rodriguez, those guys are good. Like, they're okay, they're going to screw up every once in a while, but those three guys are generally money. What's starting to happen now is because they don't want to burn those guys all the time, they've got to use some fringe players that aren't very good. Finally, Sean Jelly is gone, and I wouldn't mind if he never came back. He had like maybe a quarter or a half of a good season last year. Outside of that, he hasn't been very good. So guys like Jelly, Luke Casey, now Walker, who's struggling. Bivens is up and down. Like, we're seeing way too many of these guys. So it's the bullpen technically, but the guys who have really carried these guys, the Giants are looking at them and going, God, we can't burn these guys out all the time. So I'm not saying that they should go get a reliever. But the other thing is that organizationally, I talk about organizational depth all the time, and I hadn't really been paying attention. But yesterday, I looked at the Sacramento roster, and they brought up Carson Seymour, big dude. Really impressive stuff. His numbers are just okay. And you got to realize it's the PCL. I understand that. But even a guy like Carson Wisenhunt has a 4.55 ERA in the season. A lot of their top prospects, I looked at their top 30 prospects, Joe Whitman, all these different names that are down there. They're still rocking ERAs in the 4s and the 5s. So it's not like they have a hammer down there that's absolutely killing it. And they're like, oh, let's bring up a guy from AAA. So it's because of the Devers trade, which is fine. I'm totally good with it. But any kind of depth they had, either in the bullpen. So Hicks, for example, throwing 102 out of the pen. And from day one, and you know this because you watch the show on a regular basis, I was like, Hicks needs to be in the pen. So you had another guy throwing 100 miles an hour out of the pen. And that would have been nice. You lose that depth of a guy who could be a reliever helping the pen right now. So you don't have to see some of those names that I mentioned in a guy like Hicks. He's gone. He could spot start. He's gone. Harrison could be in the bullpen, could spot start, above average spot start. He's gone. He's gone in that trade. And again, I do that trade 100 times out of 100. But in the short term, organizational depth-wise, you don't really have any pitchers down there that are ready to contribute at a high level in the major leagues. And the organizational depth was traded to the Red Sox. So we talk about organizational depth from a standpoint of position players. Well, now, Chapman's out, Koss is out, Schmidt's out. My God. Like, who do you have left? Is Wade Meckler coming up? I mean, I haven't looked today, but like, how are they going to figure out second and third base? Koss was actually starting to hit. Oh, whoa, we can't have that. You're out. Schmidt was actually starting to hit. Whoa, we can't have that. You're out. Like, they're having real trouble at second and third base. And then you throw in that Adames is not doing anything and Devers isn't playing first base yet. So that's still bad. And Bailey's your catcher. I mean, all of a sudden you have problems hitting at catcher, first, second, short, third, and center field. And Yastrzemski is a roller coaster ride. So who exactly hits around here? You get my drift? I mean, who's hitting? Like, we're like, how come they can't score runs? I don't know. Because first base has been a problem all year. Second base, when they finally think they might be able to solve it a little bit with Koss, at least in the short term, he's hurt now. Adames has been a joke. Chapman's been out. And the guy that replaced him in Schmidt was actually hitting. Okay, he's out. Bailey's never hitting. Jung-Hoo Lee, I mean, oh my God, man. You got to start questioning that contract. It's awful. And he's playing terrible. And he's had one small stretch at the beginning of the season over the year and a half that they've had him where he looked like a competent major league player offensively. Defensively, he's a good defensive center fielder. But offensively, he's bringing nothing. For 80% of the time he's been a Giant, he's bringing very little on the offensive side. And you paid him what, $100 and something million? That's not good. So the bats are terrible. And it doesn't help that I'm sure that Rafael Devers, who struck out 4 times in the same pitch last night, high fastball. And I'm not regretting the trade. He'll come around. But I almost feel like every time he comes to the plate, he's trying to hit a 5-run home run because he's like, God, this offense is brutal. What am I going to have to do here? So rather than getting mad every single day, I've decided this is going to be my philosophy until proven otherwise on the Giants. They're just not very good. So when expectation levels raise, you get pissed off. I'll give you a perfect example. My golf game. When I play on the regular and I miss shots or I'm shitty in the short game or I miss putts I think I should hit, I get mad because I have an expectation level. I'm playing on the regular. I should be better than this. But lately I've been really busy and I got lots of stuff going on. And a couple of weeks ago I went and played and I hadn't played in probably 6 weeks and my short game sucked. I was okay off the tee, but my short game sucked. I couldn't putt. Well, those are intricacies of the game that if you play a lot, you're going to get better at. But there's a feel to those things. Well, I haven't been playing enough. So, therefore, I didn't get pissed off. Like, I wasn't throwing clubs, breaking clubs. I've never been that guy anyway. But I'm not mad at myself. I'm just having fun. I'm having a few beers and, having a good time with some friends because I'm not playing enough to be pissed off. So, my expectation level is low and I don't get mad. If I play on the regular and I suck that bad, then I get pissed. And it's the same way with the Giants. My expectation level based on their start of the season grew. It got higher and higher and higher. And then a couple of weeks ago, they get Devers, right? And they're getting close to the Dodgers. And my expectation level keeps going and going and going. And then they start sucking and they stink against the Marlins and they suck against the White Sox and they stink last night. And I think to myself, you know what? They're just not very good. So now my expectation level is this, and I'm not going to get pissed off anymore. Now, does that mean I still think they should fire Pat Burrell? Yes, they should. They're not going to fire Bob Melvin. What happens in firings is like in football, your offensive coordinator goes, or your special teams goes, your defense guy goes, and then you get fired. If you're decent. Sometimes if your whole team sucks, they just fire you as head coach. But what you do is it's like the island gets smaller and smaller as the water keeps coming in, right? And then finally they got to get you. So right now, if I'm Bob Melvin, and look, I like Bob Melvin, but his job, if they don't make the playoffs this year, he should be removed. I don't think there's any question about it. You just went and got Rafael Devers. You're spending money. This team has talent. If they don't go to the playoffs this year, Bob Melvin's out, in my opinion, and should be. And right now, as the island's getting smaller, he's got to start throwing stuff overboard. And the first thing he's got to do is Pat Burrell's got to go. They need a different voice in the dugout. Guys need to hear a different voice. They need a different approach, whatever. Now, philosophically, an organization has an approach. And Pat Burrell is simply trying to enforce that approach. And help these guys. But they clearly need another voice. I say this every day, and I'm sorry, but they do. And I don't get it. I mean, I just don't get it. I get it, but here's what I get. Buster Posey was on the 2010 World Series team with Pat Burrell, doesn't want to fire him. I get it. Everybody likes Pat Burrell. Seriously, he's been on my show tons. Great guy. Hard guy to not like. Don't care. Business is business. Friends are friends. And Buster Posey's got to do a really hard thing right now, which is, sorry, Pat, we're going to reassign you. You're going to be the minor league roving hitting instructor that you used to be. We want you in the organization, but we need a different voice in the dugout. It's as simple as that. There are no friends. This is all business. All business. Just need a new voice. I don't know who it's going to be. Somebody mentioned that Donnie Ecker was not working right now, who was with Gabe Kapler and did a really nice job. Whatever, man. Whatever. Just find a different voice, and I can't believe it wouldn't be Barry Bonds, but okay. Just a different voice, man. Somebody. They're not hitting. They scored 5 runs against the White Sox. They didn't score last night against. I mean, Arizona was just cruising. Like their starter, Ryan Nelson, like just cruising. I mean, just unbelievable. They need a different voice. It's obvious. All right, now on to the annoying dude in Arizona. So here's what's interesting. Let me play this for you first. And it's Christian Koss, and this ball would have tied up the game. First, it's called fan interference, which is clearly wrong. Then it's a home run. Then it's a double. And I think they got it right. So let me play a few different things for you. This is the NBC Sports Bay Area call with Dwayne Kuiper and Hunter Pence.
Yeah, there's no interference at all.
Of course.
And honestly, does that go over? Does that hit the top of?
Let me do it.
Yeah, there's no interference at all. And honestly, does that go over? Does that hit the top of the fence?
To me, it looked like it was going to hit the top of the fence.
All right, so there's the NBC Sports Bay Area call. And to be honest with you, especially when things are going bad, I love Hunter Pence as a person. Again, a guy that we've had on many times. I've actually been at charity events with him. He's such a good dude. But he's hard because he's such a homer. Like, I get it, man. And we've talked about this before. Teams use these broadcasts as marketing arms more than they've ever done. And they don't want objective analysis. They want you're on our side analysis. I get it. But he takes it to such a level that it's just like, man, sometimes it can be hard to watch, especially when the team's struggling. Nothing against Hunter. I'm just saying. Okay, this is the Arizona call of the same play.
Did he get it? No, he didn't. No. And we have to check for fan interference. The fan in the red shirt with the glove. That's close to being over the line and over the fence.
Yeah, I think if the gentleman in the red shirt misses that ball, it probably hits off the top of the fence or just scrapes the back of the fence, but it looked to me like it was going to be out of here anyway. Oh,
they're going to call him out, and here comes Bob Melvin. Christian Koss has been called out.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. There was no spectator interference. However, during the review, it was ruled that the ball would not have left the ballpark, so batter runner is awarded second base.
And again, we strongly discuss.
All right, then the guy gets booted out of the game. We'll get to that guy in just a second. I think, to be honest, and you tell me what you thought, I thought they got it right. I thought it looked like, and I've got a picture of it, so let me do this. This is the picture of it. I don't know if this can tell. So it's in the guy's glove at this point, all right? It looks to me that he's leaning over the line, and it either hits the top, which, by the way, if it hits the yellow, it's a home run, or it's just short, and that's what both broadcast teams said, is it either is going to hit that yellow at the top, which is a home run, or it's going to be a little bit short, and it's going to hit there. Now, look where the defenders, so clearly it's not interference because the guy catches it behind the glove of the left fielder, and he is leaning forward a little bit, and the thing that's hard to tell there, and if you think it's a home run, I understand that, but the thing that's hard to tell there is how far is that guy leaning forward? Because we don't have a side view could probably tell us a little bit better, but he looks like he's leaning forward, and that might not go out. But then again, where the arm is for the Arizona left fielder, is he over the wall? I think there's a gap right here. So I could be wrong. I think there's a gap between the two gloves, and I think it would be a little bit short, but I could be wrong. So it's either a home run or a double. Would have tied the game. Would have been nice. Here's the other thing about this thing, and give me your thoughts on this. Here's what drives me absolutely insane, and you know where I'm going. And they need to change this about replay. It's real simple. If I'm going to replay, because they totally screwed up the call. They called Koss out, and they called it fan interference. Clearly, that's the wrong call. You go to a replay in every sport with no bias. If it's being replayed, then there's obviously a question about it. So I don't care if it's football, baseball, basketball. There's no call on the field. Okay, because what you have to do is you have to overturn the call. Well, if the call was 100% correct, then we would not be reviewing the call. So you need to go in with an objective look. So in this situation, they're saying, okay, it's fan interference unless we see differently. Now, they said that they thought it was a double, but to me, there's a bias that happens when you look at replay. And if I'm looking at replay, it's just completely, it doesn't have to be overturned. In other words, you don't have to knock out the champ. You need to go in completely objectively. And that's a really tough one. That's one of the toughest calls I've seen, because it's over the outstretched arm of the outfielder. Where exactly is his arm? And then how much is the guy in the red shirt, who, by the way, is a repeat offender, and I have a video for you in just a second that I'm going to play, which is unbelievable how many times this guy's done this exact same guy. But he's reaching over. Now, again, I don't know the woman in the Giants jersey, the guy in the purple T-shirt, how far forward are they? How far forward is this guy? How far is he reaching over? Is he parallel with the yellow line? So then the ball would have hit the yellow line. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Anyway, give me your thoughts on it. Lots of people have an opinion. Let me hit you up here. I think I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Let's see. We already saw that one. Thank you, Tommy. Brock, do hitting coaches get fired in the middle of the season? Absolutely. It happens all the time. all the time, because for the exact reason I'm talking about, Brock, which is they just need a new voice. It's nothing against Pat Burrell. He was the roving minor league instructor before he was the hitting coach of the Giants at the major league level. All you got to do is just say, dude, we're going to put you back there and we're going to bring another guy in. It could be from another organization, but probably it's someone who aligns with your hitting philosophy. So they have other people within the organization. And all I'm saying is take one of those people and put them in the dugout just to hear a different voice. And like I said, if I'm Buster, I'm going to Barry Bonds and just saying, will you just put on the 25? Will you just put on the uniform the rest of this season? Just the rest of this season. We're talking about, by the time it comes, so July, August, September, we're talking 90 days, and maybe we make the playoffs. But can you, for 90 days, Barry Bonds, just put on the uniform and be official? Like, not just stand behind the, the cage and talk to guys, but just come on the road with us, work on mechanics, give them the mental side of the game. Like, everybody who talks to Barry Bonds is like, oh my God. Like, you saw Rafael Devers at the press conference. Like, he's like, Barry Bonds, bowing down to the guy. Like, Barry, I need 90 days. And then we'll find a new hitting coach next year, but 90 days, Barry. I mean, that's the obvious solution, isn't it? Yeah, they do get it fired, though. But they like to stay philosophically. Like, in other words, they'll fire guys, but they don't want it to be like, okay, let's bring in this guy from, I'm just going to pick out a team, Milwaukee, and they have a totally different approach to hitting, or a different approach. And so you're going to be learning something new. It's not that. You've got to do it mainly within the organization. Or somebody said Donnie Ecker, who they probably had similar philosophies with him. Like, somebody's got to be similar philosophy. It's not all of a sudden, hey, man, stop doing this, drop your hands. We think this, don't worry about launch angle. Like, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that kind of thing. I disagree. It was home run. If you think that, I can't, it's hard to see. I think it might have been a double. I think they got it right. But if you say you think it's a home run, I can see that, because it's not like the ball's going to stop. You know what I mean? Like, okay, the ball's flying. The guy catches it at a low angle. I think it's going to hit. But then again, to Brock's point, if it hits the yellow line, it's a home run. So does his glove, is it going to dive down there? I just can't tell how far he's out. Because if he's out quite a ways, then it's not going to get to that line. It's going to drop short. That's tight. But if you say it is, I mean, I could see where you're saying that. Hi, Pine. Same guys. Yeah. Actually, yeah, like you said, it's I have the John Boy Media one. It's 4, and then somebody from Arizona said, no, there's another one, and it was against the Cardinals. So he's done this 5 times in the last 4 years, this same guy. And so, okay, so there's the story. And look, the Giants are just having bad luck, so they call it a double. He doesn't score, and they're down 3-2 still. So that is the best look, because the ball is in his glove at that point. He's straining a little bit. Is that ball going to fall short, or is it going to hit the line? I don't think it's going to go out. I think at most it's going to go like hitting the line at the top. So anyway, and here's the other story. Now, this is on the D-backs, all right? The D-bags. This is on them. Because the same guy over the last now, and again, I'm shorting him one here. It's 5 times in the last 4 years. Exact same guy, exact same seats, exact same spot. And he's done this 5 times in 4 years. So there's a couple of things here, you dumbasses, Arizona Diamondbacks. How about this? Either you kick him out, because you kicked him out last night, which, by the way, I'm going to defend the guy for a second. If it's not fan interference, and it was determined it wasn't fan interference, why am I getting kicked out of the game? He's had fan interference before, but they initially called it fan interference, said it wasn't fan interference, it was a double, and yet they still kicked him out of the game. So he shouldn't have even been kicked out of the game. Okay, with that said, if I'm Arizona, I'm either kicking him out of the building because he's done this 5 times and it's annoying, or the closest you can have seats are like 10th row, and you're not coming down. So this is amazing. What are the odds of this guy doing this 5 times in 4 years? And what the hell are the Diamondbacks thinking? At least not moving his seats back. Here it is.
He's got some power, and it's on display right here. Oh, we're going to have to look at that one. A fan may have reached over.
They are now.
Yeah.
It's 2.
Yep. Oh, geez. Did he claiming interference is Stone Garrett.
Same guy.
It appears the game is tied. Stone claiming he was interfered with by the fan who's got the glove and the baseball.
To 2 hits today.
And the fan took it away. Oh, that should be interference. It's ruled a home run to start. Pirates to take a look.
And then last night.
High fly ball to deep left center. All the way to the wall. And did he get it? No, he didn't. No. And we have to check for fan interference. Tim Towel left.
I mean, my God. I mean, how many times until the Diamondbacks go, hey, that's the same guy? Like, I don't know. Did they know that? I mean, you have facial recognition technology, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, we can just see it right there. In Arizona, is this like Daniel or is Daniel in the room from the Valley? Like, is this well known that this dude does this down there? I mean, 5 times in 4 years? Did the Diamondbacks not know this? What the hell, bro? Like, okay, you can still have season tickets, but they've got to be like in the 10th, 20th row, or they got to be behind home plate, like up, or you can't get near a ball. Like, no. And I thought my son George has like, I'm not even kidding you, like 30 major league balls from spring training, regular games, all this kind of stuff. He used to be this cute floppy haired guy, and we would sit, or kid, and we used to sit down the right field line when they had the bullpens there at Giants games. And all the pitching coaches, all the pitchers after warming up, that's where we would always sit because he liked watching the pitchers warm up. So like he got balls from like Kershaw and Jacob deGrom, all these different guys, because he had this like blonde hair, big blonde hair coming out of his hat. And he was this little guy from age like maybe 8 to 13 before he got uncute. And they used to give him balls all the time. Like he got a game. There was a Red Sox game one time. He got 4 balls sitting down there. 4. A right fielder would come off the field, see him, flip it to him. And he was smart enough. I'll give him this. He used to have the hat for both teams. Brilliant move by him. He would bring a Giants hat. He would bring whoever they were playing at. So like if they were playing the Red Sox, he'd bring a hat. If they were playing the Dodgers, he'd bring a Dodgers hat. So he'd have a Dodgers hat that he would just put on when the right fielder was running off the field, like right fielder would make a play. And he'd look for someone in a Dodgers hat to flip it to him to be him. And they didn't have the screens up yet. And he's got a gaggle of balls. And so I thought he was good. This guy puts him to shame. Anyway, got to move that guy's seats at the very least. So there you go. Any thoughts there? No, if you think it's a home run, I get it, man. I get it. That's a really close call. Really close call. But and it's not like that guy's hard to pick out. Like same shirt, same glasses, same guy. Like it's not like, oh my God, is that the same guy? There's no doubt. My God, man. Oh, you're still there. I'm so jealous. Good morning from the beautiful Columbia River Gorge. You camping out there? That's beautiful, man. Very cool. Yeah, they did probably take him up to a suite. Hey, thanks for saving that home run, bro. Yeah, I mean, I saw this last night. Like, if that's the case, and they're just going to let a guy stand out there and steal home runs and fan interfere every single game, why doesn't everybody do that? Should everybody get a glove in that first row? They give them a glove and just tell them if you're the Giants or any other team. And just nab those balls. Nab them. They're not going to call. They aren't calling anything. My God. Oh, he was on Phoenix Radio? You're in Mesa, right? It says the guy was just on Phoenix Radio, was proud of what he has done. And guess what? They didn't kick him out last night. They didn't? Yeah, they probably moved him. All right, dude, we dig it. Hang on. Just act like we're kicking you out till the cameras go away. And then just stay up here. You can't go back down. Go to right field. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. Yeah, that's your new hitting coach right there. I mean, hi, Joe. It's got to be. Like, dude, 90 days. We need 90 days. We'll give you like $1 million. We'll give you $1 million for 90 days. How about that? And you just put on the old 25 and just help us out. I mean, like I said, Rafael Devers, he'll come around. But Rafael Devers is just like praying at the altar of Barry Bonds at his press conference. You don't think that they're going to listen? You don't think he's got knowledge? You don't think it like a mental approach that might change, might go to Willie? And I'm sure he's gone to Willie Adames, but in an official capacity to go, hey, Willie, you and I, this is my job now. You and I are going down to the cage, and we're not leaving that damn cage until you figure this shit out, because they're paying you way too much money to sit around the Mendoza line. So let's go. You in those purple shoes, get down to the cage, and let's go. I mean, all due respect to Pat Burrell, that's just kind of a different thing. Hi, I'm Barry Bonds. I'm your hitting coach. We're going to do some work. They got to do it. They got to do it. All right, episode 180, NBA free agency. Golden State should blow it up. The West is getting really good. East is really interesting, wide open now with the injuries. If you have not heard, Damian Lillard has been released. His $113 million is going to go over 5 years, and Miles Turner goes to the Milwaukee Bucks. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Again, Al Horford was the big name or the big discussion point yesterday. That's not going to change anything for them. $22 million a year for the next 5 years. That's what's going to cost on Milwaukee's cap. My God, man. That is crazy. Dennis Schroeder to Sack. Damian Lillard. Darren Waller going to the Dolphins. He's going to unretire if you didn't hear that a little bit earlier. Anything else that we've missed as far as Miles Turner, like I said, to Milwaukee. Let's see, what else do we got? I think that's it as far as news is concerned. So nothing on, Valanciunas goes from the Kings to Denver, so they get more size. My God, man. Randy Moss, cancer-free, very cool. All right, so let's see. They're talking about the Chase thing again. So this, and he's bragging about it on Instagram too. So Mr. AZ, which is a good follow. Oh, he's on. Oh, there he is. He's bragging about it. This MLB fan of Chase is interfering with 5 possible home runs. Should he be banned? So I guess he's bragging about it on Instagram now too. Whatever. I don't care about that guy. All right. Episode 180, NBA free agency. Golden State should blow it up. Size, what's left? Looks like DeAndre Ayton and Al Horford, unless they're going to make moves. That would have been nice to get Miles Turner. He goes to Milwaukee. Giannis, everybody's waiting on him, especially the Lakers and the Warriors and the Heat. JK, the latest. Looney is a Pelican, annoying Arizona fan. Giants, just make yourself feel better and come to the realization that they just aren't good. And then your expectation levels will drop, and so will your blood pressure, and your drinking will probably increase. They're just not good. Trades, I didn't get to that part of it. He's going to have to make a trade. And I don't know if Buster can go to the powers that be that have the purse strings and go, hi, yeah, remember when I said that we would be really good if we got Rafael Devers? Yeah, we still will be, but we might need a starter and we might need a second baseman or third baseman because like we have injuries like crazy there. So maybe a few more bucks. I don't know if they'll do it. You might be right on Bucks not moving Giannis. If he likes the Turner move, he's not moving. But the bottom line is if he doesn't, he's going to ask him to trade him, and they're going to have to trade him because the players have the power. Random things happen all throughout the show, and it is time. I got good stories on the Caboose today. Really good. You got to stay for him. Hang on. I know you're going to leave. And you're like, whoa, Nope. Can't leave yet because I do have a sweet, clean, family-friendly Caboose pistol, and I got 3 stories on it today, so let's do it.
John Lund Unleashed presents the Caboose pistol.
Wedged in the crack of her buttocks.
Somehow, someway, Lundo thinks this is the best way to leave a final impression on you for the day.
The old Caboose pistol, everybody has one.
Did you say Caboose?
I know some women who could hide a machine gun in there.
Yeah.
Leave me out of this, you weirdo. Here's John.
All right. Caboose pistol time. This is how we end every show. If you're new around here, just before we unveil, thank you for watching us in episode 180. On a Tuesday edition of the show, please make sure you subscribe to John Lund Unleashed. Hit us with a like before you get out of here today. And keep those alerts on because we send out stuff all through the day. Thank you for watching on X at John Lund Radio. Please migrate over to John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. And you're watching on Instagram as well at John Lund Radio. Please migrate, as I said, over to John Lund Unleashed and make sure that you subscribe and the such. And join the chat room and all of us in a fine community that we are building. All right, let's start here. Will somebody explain this to me? Passenger flagged by TSA after swamp crotch sets off alarm, and it's happening to others too. So you see the guy standing there, and, we all have to do this. You have to do like this, okay, put your hands up. Okay. What would the smell have to do? Like, do they have, like, I guess they have dogs, but it said it's setting off an alarm. So is that because, like, maybe they think that there's a bomb or there's something like that, and then they have this girl, unfortunately. Now, look, we all know what swamp ass is, which swamp ass is, let's say, it's really hot. We're getting into July here, and it's, getting in, and you just have, it's kind of unsavory, right? Your butt sweats. Kind of like, remember, Tampa Bay still has these uniforms. Tampa Bay, when they moved to the pewter, and maybe they've changed this a little bit, but you can see their offensive linemen are constantly ass sweat on those. I know this isn't pleasant. Sorry if you're having breakfast, but I know swamp ass. I think we all know swamp crotch, but I guess the thing that is crazy to me is how is it setting off alarms? Like it's so bad that like what they think you have like a bomb in there or something. Swamp crotch. Let me just put that in there. Yeah, here's what it says right here. The first thing that came up was swamp crotch. So here's what it says. It says to the air enjoys getting stopped by TSA authorities of the airport. Man, I hate when pop-ups come. Come on, can I just read it? Can I just read the story without you doing this to me? Let's see. Mid-sized. This is the woman that got stopped. Mid-sized woman, 169 pounds, 5'8", wearing bike shorts and normal underwear. The Skyway siren assured social media readers that her private parts are neither pierced nor. Oh, I see. So there's no medical devices. There's no piercing. She claimed her pockets were totally empty. Quote, I don't care about the pat down. They were polite and professional and doesn't bother me, but I'm wondering what did it. Internet know-it-alls say it's crotch sweat, and they're right. Sweat, feminine products, could be anything, but those seem to be a culprit. Quote, last time I flew out of my home airport in Tampa, let's see, there you go. Very humid, very hot. I got searched too. The security guard said something unnerving like swamp rot or swamp crotch or something similarly embarrassing. It's a bodily function that can wrongfully trigger red flags, said a TSA expert. Perspiration is probably the weirdest thing that can set off the scanners. Oh, it's good. What? They think because you're sweating, you're nervous, like you're carrying drugs and you're like sweating, and therefore it sets off the thing? I see. Swamp crotch. How embarrassing would that be? Ma'am, I mean, what do? They can't check your luggage. Will you please disrobe? That's unfortunate. Passenger flagged by TSA after swamp crotch sets off alarm. So if you're profusely sweating, apparently, it can set off the TSA alarm because they think you're nervous because you're carrying something you shouldn't. So you're just like sweating profusely. But that, I mean, think about that. You ever go, of course you do. Like you go to a place like Mexico or somewhere it's hot and humid and everything, you're going to be hot. You're going to be sweating. And plus you're going through the immigration line. It's like, oh man, it takes forever. It's not exactly like there's air conditioning there. So yeah, anywhere like Florida, Mexico, anywhere hot, humid, especially in the summer. Like, come on, man. You just set off an alarm because of that? That's weird. All right, so that's number one. Hang on, let me get to the comments here. I love this. Remember yesterday we did the story in Alabama, $1.5 million of coke that was wrapped, washed up on the shore. And then they said more coke was probably going to wash up on the shore. So I bet there's a bunch of people in Bellshore, Alabama or whatever it was, probably camping out waiting for more coke. But look at this. Next day in Florida. So this is not yesterday's story. This is not in Alabama. This is in Florida. It says Florida beachgoer stumbles upon $500,000 in cocaine wrapped in Yosemite Sam packaging. And you can see it right there. So he's got the guns out right there. So Florida beachgoer, $500,000. So yesterday it was $1.5 million in Alabama. And today it's $500,000 in Florida in Yosemite Sam packaging. Now, again, you're not, Scarface. You're not Al Pacino. You're not because people, first thing that pops in your mind is like, well, can I sell $500,000 worth of coke? No, you could not. So if it was $500,000, you said this yesterday, if it was $500,000 in cash, that beachgoer's like, I didn't see nothing. And he's running for the hills. But then again, like I said, what is it? Old country, new men, or new country, old man, or whatever it's called. That dude that, Brolin had all that money and he went past the border and that guy just kept going after him. You probably don't want to be having possession of, drug cartel money. They're going to catch you. Oh, one beachgoer, I saw him take our money. I'm going to go after that guy. And then you got that thing. Remember? You would shoot it, knocks out the lock in the hotel. You're like, oh, damn. Remember when he put the suitcase in the vent of the hotel? Like, that's no way to live. Had to cross the border. Not happening. So anyway, you're not selling the cocaine. You're not Scarface. And you would have to think about if it was cash, though. But then I keep thinking of that movie, and it's like that dude's going to track you down. So I'd probably just give it all to the cops. But there you go. 2 days in a row. Once in Alabama, once in Florida. A lot of cocaine floating around the ocean. And then finally, one more. This is in the Bay Area. Driver weaving in a Nissan, busted for DUI at 0.25. So it's 0.08, right? I think Utah and there's one other state that's less. But 0.08 is the legal limit. So he's at 0.25, and I was told there was no math on this show, but 3 times the legal limit. While license suspended for prior DUI. And so they find an open container of alcohol in a cup holder, which, dude, before I get to the main part of the story, first of all, I'm not advocating drinking and driving, but you got a beer right in the cup holder. Like, really? All right. Plus 70 empty cans of Bud Light. Look what the cops did there. That's all Bud Light. Like, dude, stop by a dumpster every once in a while. Grab a garbage bag next time you stop. Like, you could be 100% sober, and they're like, you have 70 beer cans in here. Now, to be completely honest here, when I was a kid, it wasn't a big, like, I'm not going to say it wasn't a big deal. I don't know what the laws were, but I can remember like being like 5 years old or something and sitting, and my dad would have a beer in the car, and it was like a soda or whatever you're drinking a Diet Coke or something. Like, I didn't even think anything of it. Like, my dad, it'd be Saturday, we'd run errands. He was a Coors Light guy, and I don't even think they had Coors Light back in those days, but they had like Banquet Coors, and they like the yellow can. And my dad would be driving down the road drinking a beer like it was a soda. But that was a long time ago. But you can't do that. I mean, look at that. 70 Bud Lights and one in the cup holder. And he would just throw them to the back and just chuck them. Yeah, that's a problem. Don't do that. Don't drink and drive. But my God, man, clean out your car every once in a while, bro. Look at that. That's ridiculous. So anyway, the DUI guy with 70 Bud Lights in his car. Another cocaine situation washes up, this time in Florida, not Alabama. And I don't know. I don't know what you can do about swamp crotch. I just don't know. I mean, it just means you're sweating a lot, and that sets off the alarm because they think you're nervous and they think you're a drug runner, speaking of drugs. And it sets it off. So do your best. But I mean, my God, that must be embarrassing. Swamp crotch. And that is your sweet, clean, family-friendly Caboose pistol. Any thoughts on any of that? 70 Bud Lights equals regular beer. But still, to have, like, come on, man. Like, to have them in your car, like, dude, clean out the car. Like, do you ever, like, I got a 21-year-old, you know that, George. I buy him a brand new car, beautiful car. That thing now, oh my God. And like, I tell him too, like, when you get home, I am going to look in that car. You better have that thing ready. It better look nice. And so he'll drive from like Arizona State, and he'll be like, don't look at the car yet. I got to go to the, and he'll go get it detailed or something. Because it's like, I don't want to see that thing looking like that. Now, he doesn't have 70 beer cans in there. But one time I did not unannounced, but I went down there and had a rental car and stuff. And I go, hey, let's go get your car washed and cleaned out since I'm here. It looks a little rough. So I get in the car and I look in the back. And of course, kids are different nowadays. I'm embarrassed to say this because he's part of my flesh and blood, but like, there's twisted tea cans back there and seltzer cans. And I'm like, first of all, lame. But second of all, I'm like, yeah, you might want to stop and get these out of your car. Just thinking. He's like, oh, okay. I'm like, God, really? Drives it crazy. Anyway, what else do we got? What are people talking about? Is this Florida, Germany? Let's see. More than 3 ounces under. I knew this would get people more than, yeah. See, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, man. Yeah. Again, you're in Louisiana. You go into New Orleans, right? You're exactly right, Joji. You go into New Orleans or something. We've all flown into New Orleans, middle of the summer. What do you think is going to happen? Swamp ass, swamp crotch, whatever it is. It's what it's going to be, man. It's humid. It's hot. That shouldn't set the alarm off. My God, man. What's going to be next? I already have to take my shoes off, do this kind of stuff. Okay, remove the underwear, please. We think you have swamp crotch. Oh, my God. Seriously? I got to do this? What else do we got? Anything else? All right, that'll do it. Oh, wait, lady beers. Oh, I see. See, I always become the butt of jokes when it comes to fruity beers and lady beers. I get it. I understand. Dude wipes. Yeah, that's a good call right there. Maybe you need some dude wipes or something. Hang on. Kenny said that. There you go. All right, good stuff today, man. Good time had by all. Giants signed Austin Barnes. Yeah, they got a Dodger. I don't know how people feel about that, but they did. All right. What else? Anything else today that I may have missed? Let me double check. But there you go. Episode 180, NBA free agency, Golden State. Blow it up. Any size left? Oh, boy, it's going to be Al Horford. Great. That has not been official. Miles Turner, by the way, went to Milwaukee today in addition to all the other size things that happened yesterday. What else did we have today? Giannis waiting on him. JK Looney goes to the Pelicans. The annoying Arizona home run fan. The Giants just aren't good. Trades, they could. Would they approve that? What else do we have? Random things happen throughout the show, of course, and there are 3 sweet, clean, family-friendly Caboose pistols. Let me make sure that we're not missing anything. Why does this keep doing this? No, I don't want that. Here we go. Just make sure before I get out of here so I don't have to pop on real quick because things are happening fast and furious. Anything else here? Yeah, I guess that's it. Looney, we already know that. Good news on Randy Moss. What in the hell? Oh, my God. That's not true. New York erects a 10-foot tall pink foot fountain that sprays water from its tip. Should we wait for tomorrow on this, or do you want to see this now? It's another Caboose pistol. What in the hell is this? Okay, hold on. This is not exactly what I was looking for, but why not? Okay, let me share my screen with you one last time. I'm going to give you a bonus here. We don't have to play the Sweet Clean Family Friendly Caboose Pistol because we already played that, but where is it? Right here. Look at this thing. What are you kidding me? Breaking. New York erects a 10-foot tall pink foot fountain that sprays water from its tip. It's a foot fountain. What the what? That doesn't look like a foot to me. That's not a foot fountain. And what? Somebody sits over there and makes it squirt? Wonderful. That's not a foot. All right. Maybe the bottom is a foot, but the top is a penis. Like what? And it's spraying stuff from the top of it? Only in New York. Well, actually, that would happen in San Francisco too. That's weird. That's just weird. There you go. From the General. Breaking. New York erects. Got it. 10-foot pink foot fountain that sprays water from its tip, and somebody sits over there and makes it spray water. That's weird. Somebody had to be on acid or shrooms or smoked a lot of weed to get that. And there you go. That's it. That's all I'm doing today. I just saw that. I was looking for NBA news, not that. But anyway, there you go. That's what people do and post nowadays. All right, there you go. That is your Sweet Clean Family Friendly Caboose Pistol. That is episode 180. Please, before you get out of here today, make sure that you hit us with a like. Get those alerts on so that we can send you more stuff because we got more things throughout the day that will send you any breaking news. If it's huge in the Warriors, we will make sure that we pop back on. So if you get those alerts on, you'll know when we come back on. Is Al Horford big enough to come back on if that happens or something? Miles Turner, by the way, going to Milwaukee today. So we'll let you know if anything big happens. That's what's going on. What the fuck? That's not weed. Yeah, that's probably shrooms or acid. Something like that. Hey, you know what I'm going to make? Some guy that's an artist, like, hi, God, it's going to be a foot and it's going to be a penis and it's going to spray water and they're going to put it on a big platform in New York. All right, there you go. All right, everybody have a tremendous day. Have a tremendous Tuesday. I hope everybody does great. And again, get those alerts on. Please make sure you subscribe to John Lund Unleashed and the Bay Area Sports Collective. Thanks today for watching on X at John Lund Radio, on Instagram at John Lund Radio, Facebook, my personal page, and Unleashed, LinkedIn, and other places. And for all things Unleashed, please simply go to johnlundunleashed.com. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!